allow me to introduce our next session. In a while, we'll begin our first panel of the conference focusing on ASEAN precious metals market architecture. And yes, we have our panelists all shown on screen. To chair this session, I will be introducing Mr. Andrew Clarke, Head of BGS Brinks Global Services, Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. Allow me to introduce Mr. Clarke with a bio, and the rest of the panel with the bios as well. Mr. Clarke oversees Brinks, Bullion, and Global Services business across key ASEAN markets with extensive experience in secure logistics and vaulting solutions for precious metals. He works closely with exchanges, banks, and market participants to support the smooth flow and integrity of bullion across the region. And joining him, we have, of course, Miss Khun Pawan Nawawattanasub, founder and CEO, YLG Bullion International Co. Limited. Khun Pawan leads one of Thailand's prominent bullion companies active in gold trading, investment, and retail services. She offers deep insights into the Thai gold demand, investor behavior, and evolution of bullion products in the ASEAN market. And next we have Mr. Chanthone Sitthixay, CEO, Lao Bullion Bank. Mr. Chanthone heads Lao Bullion Bank, which plays a key role in developing Laos precious metals and financial markets. His experience spans banking, bullion management, and building cross-border connectivity for gold flows in the Mekong region. And following him, we have Mr. Kazuya Naoki, Managing Director, Head of Metals Asia, ICBC Standard Bank PLC, Singapore. Mr. Kazuya Naoki leads the metals business for ICBC Standard Bank across Asia, covering trading, risks, management, and client solutions in precious metals. He works with global and regional institutions to facilitate hedging, financing, and physical flows in the bullion market. And last but not least, we have Mr. Zhen, Managing Director, Head of FX, Precious Metals and Digital Assets, Global Financial Markets, DBS Bank. Mr. Lee oversees FX, precious metals, and digital assets within global financial markets at DBS. He focuses on integrating traditional markets with emerging products and technologies, helping clients navigate currency, bullion, and digital asset opportunities. And now I hand over the time to our moderator, Mr. Andrew Clarke.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to say a quick thank you to Albert, Margaret, and the team behind the SBMA for having us here today in this opportunity to share a bit of our insights. And a very warm welcome to those who have traveled from overseas to be here in Singapore to attend the APPMC by SBMA. So this morning, we have heard about Project Line 2 and Singapore's effort to build a stronger clearing and settlement mechanism, supported by vaulting, logistics, banking, institutional infrastructure. The panel asks the regional question, what does this mean for ASEAN? Like Albert mentioned earlier, ASEAN is not just one market, it's Thailand, Laos, Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Singapore, each with their own role in the precious metals ecosystem, as trading centers, consuming markets, producing countries, refining locations, and financial hubs. So on this panel, we would like to unpack how a stronger Singapore architecture can help connect these markets more efficiently and with greater trust. So I would like to open up a question for each one of the panelists to answer. From each of your perspectives, what is the biggest gap in ASEAN's precious metals market today? Is it liquidity, clearing and settlement, vaulting and logistics, standards, financing, or access to international counterparties? So perhaps Khun Pawan, if you want to answer first.
Thank you, Andrew. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for SBMA to be let me a part of this discussing. Thank you, Albert, KL Yep, to let me a part of this session also. First of all, when we talk about ASEAN, nobody realized that ASEAN, they used to have the volume long ago, but it's never show off. From 10 years past until now, we realize that the volume of ASEAN is almost 20% of whole gold industry. From 2025, ASEAN consume 190 ton from surround country, like Thailand took almost like 49 ton, Malaysian took few ton, 30, 40 ton, Indonesian also, even Vietnam also. So from a figure of all of these countries is accumulated to be 190. This is just net deposit in the country. We didn't talk about inflow and outflow. How much it have to be? Let example Thailand. Inflow and outflow from Thai side. Import almost like 100 ton something. Export almost like 200. Net balance is about 50 ton balance in the country. This we just talk about the physical, net physical. We didn't talk about trading. In Thailand, trading flow almost 85% of the physical amount. I just talk about Thailand. Let's talk about the other country. If accumulates all of surround Asian, how much volume is have to be? But it depends. Because each country, they have strength on something. But to connect to each country, it have some gap. Like Andrew saying, they have a problem of accessibility, trading platform, financing problem, even refinery also. Surround Southeast Asian, only one important is methanol. But not enough for us, right? So methanol have to increase their capacity. So this is the main reason that ASEAN still not need a lot of things to fulfill, to let ASEAN people to be growing up, because volume is there, needs real support. So this is the big gap. If the project Lion 2 can support to Southeast Asia, it's gonna be help the market growing up and as sustainable. So we do hope that this project will be success very soon with all of our hands to support each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Pawan. Chanthone?
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Mr. Albert. Thank you, Mr. K.L. Yap. Yeah. And thank you for the question. Andrew, I would like to refer to my note for I can cover the key point. Yeah. I think for Laos, the biggest gap is not gold production, and it is not logistic, but the biggest gap is trust. Now, Laos we have gold, we have mine, but without trusted standard and efficient settlement. It is difficult for our gold to connect with the global market. This is why the initiative like Singapore Project Lion are so important. They help create trust, connectivity, and confidence that make that market need to grow. In simple terms, they help turn physical gold into globally recognized and bankable gold. For Laos, this is the gap we need to close. And for the ASEAN, this is how we build a more connected and trusted future together. This is my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you for your perspective.
Thank you, and and also thanks to Albert and KL for organizing such a great event. And also, I would like to congratulate my fellow Japanese for getting a point at the World Cup today. Okay, so the gap. So I would say the main gap is connectivity within ASEAN. I know ASEAN market has pockets of great markets and supply and demand around the Thailand, Indonesia, and everything, but it's not, to my view, it's not fully connected within the region and also with the international market and to institutional access in particular. So what do we need? We need a liquidity, and liquidity is very important, but liquidity also requires soft and hard infrastructure. And if clearing and vaulting infrastructure and then trading and also legal framework is there, I think that will attract more international investments and also international participation, which will bring liquidity naturally. And also, I know this is a topic about ASEAN, but ASEAN also need to connect to broader international market, also within region, like China, Hong Kong, India, and also Japan and Korea and Australia, outside of ASEAN. But also, we cannot forget about the biggest market in London and New York. So we do need to work on that to create a broader market that has more depth to it. Yeah, I'll keep it there. Thanks.
So it looks like we'll have to thank Albert and KL, so I'll do that as well. I agree with all the previous speakers. Essentially, there is a market fragmentation that's actually seen in ASEAN. It's for good reason though, right? So there are two major use cases for gold. One is as a commodity, as a trade flow. The second is a financial instrument. So in ASEAN economies, there's definitely a lot more policy-related restrictions on the free flow of gold, specifically on countries where there's a little bit more of capital controls, etc. So if you look at across 11 ASEAN countries, Singapore and Thailand probably have the lowest barriers to entry, pretty free flow for physical gold in and out, and for all the semi-finished products as well. 2025, there was a refresh on ATIGA, so the ASEAN Trading Goods Agreement, which actually essentially removed the barriers for flows for raw and semi-manufactured gold products, as well as jewelries across ASEAN countries. So this is actually a major step. But the monetary gold, the investment precious metals, there are still restrictions. For example, Malaysia has imposed 10% import tariff. Indonesia, for example, is the largest producer in the region, have various restrictions on exporting the gold. And obviously we have other gold mines in Philippines, in Laos. There are various restrictions at the moment for import and export. So that market fragmentation is to be addressed, I think, within ASEAN. And together with the rest of the APAC and Asian economies, there's actually a significant growth potential in the area.
Thank you very much. Clearly there's a few gaps here. And I think one of the common themes obviously is connectivity, right? And if Singapore can play that position. So I think going back to Khun Pawan to elaborate a bit more about what you mentioned about the Thai gold market. Thailand has one of the most active gold markets in ASEAN, with a strong retail participation and deep trading culture. If Singapore develops a more institutional clearing and settlement architecture, how could that support the Thai market participants? Is that in the areas of trading, hedging, sourcing, or regional expansion?
Even Thailand are more liquidity, more physical, more trading, but still we need the support. So Project Lion 2 definitely will be strongly support Thailand. As when we have big flow, we want to send the material to refine. Everywhere was flow. When they have a big movement, the trading flow is full. So this kind of thing, we need definitely to support. Plus, settlement, we have to wait until AM fixing. We don't get the fund in same day, next day. Plus transportation, if Singapore was flow, then where we have to go? Hong Kong, Switzerland. So the distance of time is added. Funding cost is take more time. This kind of thing. I remember on 2020, when we have COVID, Sometimes we have to hold a gold almost 2 tons to wait for the flight to go. The flight doesn't have like daily. It's like twice a week or once a week. So this kind of thing, transportation, Brinks have to be supported. Try to see that which destiny have more transaction. Then try to find the place to be more transact, to be more active. Even we can go daytime or nighttime. So all these things is completely, fully support Thailand. Thailand have flow, but the flow cannot go out, have
yes.
nowhere to go. That is very important. So I'm grateful that Singapore have Lion 2 project. Will be support us fully. Plus, myself, we got the company in Singapore. Not only flow from Thailand, we got flow from Southeast Asia.
Yes.
This is accumulate to be stuck. So if we can develop, find the clearing house, the walls, and all kind of things, it's going to be sort out of the problem.
I agree. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree for sure. And just hopping across to your neighbor across the border, Chanthone, some of what Khun Pawan describes may be a bit different to the situation in Laos. Laos is at a different stage in the market development, right? But it is important, right, in connecting gold production and regional flows. What would a stronger Singapore-based bullion infrastructure mean for an emerging market like Laos in the areas of credibility, standards, financing, and access to international buyers?
For Laos, I think Singapore-based bullion infrastructure greatest value is not simply a trading hub. It is the gateway, a gateway to international standard, a gateway to global financial institution and international buyers. When an emerging market like Laos is connected to the trusted ecosystem, it's become easier to attract financing, improve market confidence, and participate in global trade. Singapore help bridge the distance between local production and global opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Chanthone. I think that sort of ties in with what Lee Zhen has mentioned about it's not just about the physical, it's also about financial markets and that access. So I think that leads on to maybe a question for Kaz. From an international bullion bank perspective, what would make ASEAN precious metals market more bankable? What do the banks actually need to see before they provide more liquidity, credit, clearing access, and market-making support?
I said a similar thing at the World Gold Council and SBMA Academy training earlier this year. So basically, 3 things: KYC, KYC, and KYC, right? But we're talking about 3 different C's. One is basically, know your customer. Of course, you have to, know who you're dealing with, and then you also need to know your commodity. So, what products are you dealing with, and where did it come from? This is also important. But also, you have to also know your connectivity as well. So, how to access the market, how to prepare the liquidity, and also it's quite important for banks like us to connect to those markets. Infrastructure should be there, and also it has to be quite transparent in terms of legal framework and everything like that. So otherwise, it's quite difficult to attract the institutional liquidity, in my view. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. KYC, KYC, KYC. Yeah. So sticking on the banking theme, Lee Zhen, from a regional bank perspective, how can Singapore's gold market architecture support ASEAN clients? Not only the large institutions, but also the refiners, traders, jewelers, family offices, and wealth management clients, of course.
Sure. I think to answer your question, I'll share 3 data points. So the first data point is to look at ASEAN as a whole. So ASEAN as a whole is roughly 5% of global gold production, primarily in Indonesia, some in Philippines and Laos, as mentioned. As a percentage of global demand, ASEAN actually commands 6 to 7%, primarily in jewelries as well as investment precious metals. So that's one key data point for us to address. That ASEAN together is actually a pretty significant marketplace globally. The question of whether, for example, the gold mines and producers from Indonesia has to be shipped to Switzerland for production and then be shipped back to meet the local demand, I think is something that we can immediately address within ASEAN economies. The second data point is to look at the amount of wealth products that has grown significantly over the last few years. So from official and unofficial data that we have seen, 2025, the total wealth product turnover is probably twice as much as 2024. The first 5-6 months of this year combined is already more than twice of last year. So there's a significant growth in Singapore just as a wealth center, and gold being a pretty significant portion of that product itself. And the third data point that I want to share is more of a recent development over the course of the last 6 months. So you've seen increasing growth of gold products that's originating in Singapore with the underlying gold that's physically vaulted in Singapore. So ABAC's gold futures, for example, they're trading at roughly about 10 tons on average daily volume. Pretty significant growth from where they started a year ago. Early on, DPM mentioned the Line Global's fund. They're already at about 600 million of AUM within 6 months of launch. You obviously have seen the long queues outside the UOB branch. And DBS, we have just recently announced a launch of our physical gold tokens as well. So what's making it really unique in Singapore is that it's not only that we're building a trusted center here, we are also building gold products that comes with technology, come with innovation that actually addresses the needs of various upstream to downstream players in the ecosystem. So I think Singapore will continue to play an important role, and the strong collaboration with all the ASEAN economies will be actually crucial for the success of our project over here.
Thank you. So it does sound like Singapore has a real opportunity here to become a place where ASEAN physical flows can meet international financial infrastructure. And I guess to the panelists, if we're looking to 2030, right, a few years away, what would make a better connected ASEAN precious metals market? And what would that look like if you can suggest maybe one key practical change and briefly describe?
On 2030, we look forward to see ASEAN are more functioning, more connectivity, more liquidity, more connect to each other, more accessibility by trading platform, more efficiency, plus financing sector, more easier to access, transportation, more efficiency.
That's a lot of changes, Khun Pawan.
A lot of change,
correct,
but
yeah.
we do hope that since new technology, digital coming, a lot of things change, like Thailand. Every two years, if you are in Thailand, you don't move, you are burst out of the market. It's fully competition, it's fully development. Can saying that nowadays, retail can touch the goal everywhere. We have a infrastructure, connect with the financial sector. All the banks, we collaborate with all the big banks. So everyone can buy gold from everywhere by one touch. So this is in local ties. We look forward that other sector, other sides of ASEAN can develop. Plus, Singapore can be provide the accessibility, transparency, and trust is the most important thing that it have to be in this industry. So in 2030, we look forward to see more volume. Even now, we feel like ASEAN is quite big. It's almost 20% of real volume in the world. But I believe that it's shifting to ASEAN side more and more. We can see ASEAN growing a lot. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We're coming close to the end of this panel, so I think maybe I'll just switch it up a little bit, because I think, Khun Pawan, you covered quite a lot of them. I'm just going to ask for one sentence from each of the panelists to wrap up and to end. So the one sentence is, what is the single most important thing Singapore should do to make this new architecture useful in your market?
So Singapore is a very great country and island, but my suggestion is don't be Galapagos Island, don't develop on its own, and co-work with other regions. Yeah, that's my message. Yeah.
I also written a sentence. Credible ASEAN framework with Bullion architecture with regional standards that's internationally aligned. But the key message I want to deliver is that make Singapore more significant than the red dot is on the map in a global trading ecosystem. Lead with innovation, lead with technology, think about true DVP style of settlement and reduce frictions. So that's actually very much aligned with our 2030 vision for Singapore.
I think Singapore should ensure that its ecosystem is inclusive and resilient to allow ASEAN members to participate, go and connected the global market, because ASEAN succeed only when no market is left behind. Thank you.
Very good, very strong last sentences. And so if I try to also summarize in a sentence or so as well as, so I think what I can hear from the panel is that ASEAN cannot just rely on theory alone. It needs practical connectivity. That's trusted voting, bankable counterparties, clear standards, efficient settlement, and a platform that connects the local strengths to global institutional confidence. And I think, that's very important into the work that we are doing now in Singapore, building this new architecture, and that's why it really matters. So on that note, I would just like to say a very big thank you to our esteemed panelists for spending your valuable time with us and sharing your insights. So thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you very much to our panel moderator and our panelists.